This interactive tool predicts MICP curves for different pore types using the Leverett, Thomeer and Lonoy averaging methods. Input areas are marked by yellow background color. The pore type can be selected from the radio buttons to the left. By hovering the cursor over the black pore types box in the top of the screen, an explanation of the pore type codes is given. Additional input data vary with averaging method. The Leverett method requires porosity and permeability as input, whereas the Thomeer method requires permeability and mercury capillary entry pressure. The Lonoy method requires pore type and porosity. The input values can be controlled by dragging the sliders. The predicted MICP curves are given in the plot. An average MICP curve, this green curve, can be plotted using any combination of the three methods. This is done by marking methods to include in these checkboxes. Using CARP's extensive MICP database, the Lonoy method has shown much lower deviation from measured MICP curves than the Thomeer and Leverett methods. A limitation of the Thomeer and Leverett methods is that they are difficult to apply in prediction because they depend on input parameters that are difficult to achieve beyond chord intervals. They are therefore mostly applicable for grouping MICP curves that have similar capillary properties. This grouping is usually carried out using some sort of rock typing. Pore types is one type of rock typing. When permeability and mercury capillary entry pressure is unavailable, for example in uncored intervals or between wells, they have to be predicted. Predictions can be carried out by using other prediction tools in CARP. Predicted parameters can be selected from the checkboxes in the lower right input box. Predicted MICP curves can be copied as CSV data to the clipboard by pressing the yellow button in the lower left of the plot. User-derived MICP curves can be imported into the tool by use of the Click to Load button. In this way, measured MICP data can be copied into the tool to visualize how the different methods plot relative to the measured data. I will copy in a CSV file to illustrate this. The imported MICP curve are actual measured data from a Middle East sample. Before we import the MICP data, we enter the sample's pore type, porosity, permeability and mercury capillary entry pressure. For this particular sample, the measured porosity is 25.2. The pore type is 1.12. The permeability is 30.9 millidarcy. Yeah, that should be okay. And the capillary entry pressure for mercury is 13. Yeah, that should be okay. Before importing the MICP data, please read the requirements for CSV import given here. We then press the Click to Load button and select our CSV file. The purple curve is our imported measured MICP data. We see that both the Thomeer and Leverett curves have strong deviation from the measured curve at the left side of the plot. Leverett also has a strong deviation on the right side of the plot. That's the blue curve here. Additionally, we see that the Lonoy curve, which is the red curve, overall has the best approximation to the measured curve. And this is reflected in the deviation data in the upper right of the plot. The average deviation given in the table reflects the choices made in the checkboxes down here. If we change these, then the average deviation also changes. The Thomeer and Leverett curves were generated using measured permeability and mercury capillary entry pressure. These parameters could also have been predicted using prediction tools in CARP. So let's press these two checkboxes here and predict the parameters. And we see that the predicted permeability and mercury capillary entry pressures are very close to those that were measured. And in this particular case, using the predicted values gives almost the same deviation from the measured curve. The input parameters required for the Lonoy averaging method, porosity and pore type, are direct or indirect parts of reservoir models. Pore types are controlled by sedimentologic and diagenetic processes and can therefore be populated into the reservoir model based on a phases map.